Let's rock it. So, fact finding mastery, like I was mentioning before, right? The skill set that separates closers from $10,000 to $130,000 closers. So, the purpose of this teaching that we're going to dive into for the fact finding, it's the engine of the entire sales process, right? It's the intro opens the door. Fact finding literally shows you what's inside the house, right? Like it's I couldn't put it any more simple. The intro literally like you're opening that door, you're swinging that thing open, and then the fact finding is like, all right, dude, how many bedrooms you got? How many bathrooms you got? What kind of floors? Is it central, central air? What's good? A weak fact find. This is something you guys stay away from. Write these things down. Just stay away from them. A weak fact find leads to price objections, right? I need to think about it. Surface level answers, misdirection, misalignment, zero emotional leverage, a dead pitch really is what it comes down to, right? A weak fact find leads to, again, price objections. I need to think about it, surface level answers, misdirection, misalignment, zero emotional leverage, a dead pitch. Important to understand what fact finding basically uncovers later on to stay away from it. And an elite fact find will lead to, and these are things that you guys can start to find on these calls, is truth, emotional honesty, deep clarity, ownership, there's high intent, there's clean transitions, a pitch so tailored that it feels inevitable, right? And so when you feel those things on a call and you're getting truth, you're getting the emotional honesty, the deep clarity, the ownership of their results, their high intention of wanting to do more, clean transition in the conversations, and a pitch that feels inevitable, great. Then you guys are doing great. And that's how exactly how fact finding should feel. So we're going to help you guys basically get into the frequency of being a specialist in the truth extraction, right? Ethical, precise, and effective. So the psychology behind fact finding is this. Pretty simply put, people rarely tell the truth first. Rarely. Genesis, you're in car sales, yeah? Do you feel like people are pretty truthful with you right off the rip? Or, I mean, maybe they aren't, but do you feel like they're
Liars are liars.
all right? So they'll tell you what they want to hear, right? They'll say what's socially acceptable, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what they tell. What protects their ego, what minimizes their vulnerability ultimately, right? What they think you want to hear, and what makes them look competent. People rarely
Yeah.
tell the truth first. That's what they tell, right? So your job is not to interrogate. Your job is to lead them to the truth in a way that feels safe and self-realized, right? So like the prospect's internal fears during fact finding, and again, this is in your workbook, so we're in module 2, but the prospect's internal fears during fact finding, right? If I admit the problem, I'll feel weak, right? If I tell the truth, they'll judge me. If I share numbers, I'll be exposed. And if I open up, they're going to pressure me, right? You break these fears with pace, permission, validation, a grounded emotional frame, elite question sequencing, and silence mastery. Right? When it's done correctly, the prospect then will begin to reveal things that they haven't really told their friends, their partners, their teammates. They'll give you their whole life story. They'll start to word vomit you. They'll start to just spill out their heart and everything that you didn't think you wanted to hear. You become their therapist at this point. Right? And that's what we want to get to. And the golden rule of fact finding is do not move to the next question until you have the real truth, right? Most sales reps will run through a checklist, and top closers, guys, I'm telling you, will stay on topic until the truth is fully extracted. Like they will stay on topic and they will not move until they have a commitment. They will not move until they have their accountability. They will not move until they have the ownership. They stay on that topic and they'll grind and pick at different ways and angles until they get that answer. Examples, guys, of a fake truth. I just need more leads. If I just had more sales calls, if I just had more this, right? I want to make more money. Like I could use an extra 5K, 10K a month just for, just some extra cash. My content isn't working, right? Those are fake truths. We know they don't need more leads. They need better systems. We know that they don't need to make more money. They don't have money. We know that their content isn't working because they don't have a niche. They're not specifying or specializing in anything, right? So what's a real truth? I'm scared I'll fail again. I don't know who I am online. I've been posting, but I don't believe in myself. I'm embarrassed. I've been in the same income for 18 months. I'm tired of disappointing my family. Right? I don't have any more time. I'm working 60-hour long weeks. Those are real truths. You can feel it. It drags you when they're talking about it. Right? You can feel it, their pain in their answers. Fake truth is really easy and it'll always come, you guys will always come across it. But real truth is emotional, it's uncomfortable, vulnerable, and powerful. So your job at all costs throughout fact finding is to go and get to the truth without force. We don't ever want to force anything. Okay? Is that everything making sense so far in the fact finding? Cool. And then, guys, and then there's going to be four layers of truth, right? So every prospect is going to end up having four layers. And dude, our job is to peel back through all four, right? Layer one, the surface problem, right? So you guys can write that down. Layer one is the surface problem. It's what they say at first. So usually it's tactical, low depth, like leads, systems, my offer, no time, no money. Layer two is like the actual root problem. So where the issue actually starts, meaning like it's either their mindset, their identity, as we were just speaking about, their habits, their clarity. Examples of that would be like, I'm not, I'm inconsistent, or I don't know what to say. I've never built momentum, the real root of the problem. And then layer three is the emotional cost, how the problem feels, right? It's embarrassing. I feel behind. I'm stressed every day. My kids look at me with disappointment or whatever. I don't know, right? But that's the emotional cost. Layer four is the life consequence, right? What this problem will do if it continues. And this is so important for them to understand this because it's their problem solution awareness, right? And so examples, I'll never leave my job. My partner is losing respect. I'm scared I'll never hit my potential. That's the life consequence. When you finally reach layer four, the sale, I'm telling you, it's done. You have everything you need. And at that point, it's going to come down to financing and finding the money. Right or wrong, Macari, usually at that point.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what happens at it.
And so the real structure of finding or fact finding, the elite fact finding structure really is a universal sequence that you guys can use, whether it's on the phones and the DMs. This is very applicable to anything that you guys want to utilize on the phones, even emails, comment sections, all of it. So step one is open the container, right? This is again a universal sequence that you guys can utilize in fact finding is step one, open the container. Walk me through, catch me up to speed, paint me a picture. This invites storytelling, not bulletin points. I don't want to hear that. Oh, dude, it sounds like you've been working for 3 months at construction. Is that right? Yeah. But dude, tell me, paint me the picture, man. How long have you been doing construction? Like, how'd you get into that? How long have you been doing that for? Have them invite them to tell you a story, not bulletin points. Step two, diagnose the present. You explore what they're already doing today, right? Talk me through your daily routine. How are leads coming in right now if it's a business owner? Step three is to expose the gaps. You identify what's missing, exactly, what's not working, what feels off, what's inconsistent right now. You expose the gaps. What do you think's not working right now out of everything that you're trying? Or, hey man, why do you think it's taking you 2 years to see a result? Whatever it might be, right? You're going to expose the gaps. Step four is emotional amplification. You lean into how it feels, right? How does that make you feel, man? Like, I guess you've been doing this for 10 years or 13 years, whatever it might have, whatever they might have said, right? Let's just say, dude, okay, so you've been saying you've been doing construction for 10 years and, you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're not able to get, that brand new house you're looking to save up for. You're not really able to start that process, dude. Like, and for you, I guess like my question is, how does that make you feel, or what's the toll that this has taken on you? All right, that's the emotional amplification. I want to amplify it, I want to exaggerate it. And then step five is the consequence projection, right? So what happens if nothing changes? Where does this lead you 6 months from now? This is all things that are integrated in the fact finding. Dude, what happened if nothing changes, man? Just out of curiosity, like let's say that you kept on this track that you're currently on. Like what happens if nothing changes? Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna have time for my family. I'm not gonna be able to get that new car. I'm not gonna be able to reach my goals. And then step six after that would be to transfer the ownership, right? It's ownership transfer. You make them claim that. Okay, so what do you feel needs to change right now? Let them come up with that. All right, what do you feel needs to change right now, man? So in order for you to be able to see those results, what do you think needs to change? Right, and then you enter step seven, dream outcome clarification. What's the actual target you want? What would life business look like if this was fixed, man? If we could take all that time that you don't have anymore and you're at work and we could bring that all back to you, you don't have to worry about the bills or the money, man. Like, what does that do for you? What does that look like if this would, be able to be fixed like that? All right. And then after that part, we're going to transition to the solution, which is step eight. That's the final step. Transition to solution. Got it, man. I see exactly what's going on. I'm going to walk you through the path that would fix this, man. And this basically would set up the close perfectly. Right, dude? Got it, man. I see exactly what's going on. I'm going to walk you through a path that's going to fix this in the next 90 days, man. It's a blueprint step by step that, you can follow, man. You ready for me to kind of walk you through this to see if it's something that would be beneficial? Yeah, man. I'm all ears at this point, bro. I'm telling you, the prospects will absolutely give you everything and more after the fact. So, any questions on that? That's really like a lot of the fact finding I want to touch on with you guys. I know it's a lot, but it's what you guys signed up for, man.
Let's
Oh,
go. That's good.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
just to double check, this video is gonna be, or this recording is gonna be uploaded, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
And then, cool. So I'll go over one last thing with you guys through the fact finding because we'll still touch on some of this stuff tomorrow too. But the question types, right? So I have question categories that I've seen the best closers cycle through in precise rhythm, really. Like they kind of use these questions throughout within categories, right? So the first category that I've seen is like narrative questions, right? It's to open the conversation, or the trigger storytelling. Like walk me through your last 30 days, right? That kind of question. That's a narrative question. So the categories are important to understand. The second category is like contrast questions, right? Reveal the gap between where they are and where they want to be, right? What's happening now versus what you want to be happening, right? Those kinds of questions. And then there's emotional excavation questions, right? Pull out the human, not the resume. So, like, how long has this been bothering you? Right? We don't want to hear what their job and I do this, I do that. I'm a man. Like, no, we want to. How long has this been bothering you? I want the human response. And then there's ownership questions, right? So shifting responsibility to the prospects. What do you think? What do you think you haven't fixed this year? Or why do you think you haven't fixed this yet? Why hasn't this been fixed already? Those kinds of questions, ownership questions, consequence questions. So future pace of the cost of an action. What gets worse or what gets worse if nothing changes, man? What's going to continue to happen in your life if this continues to go on? Consequence questions, right? And then there's identity questions. So, connect to their deeper self. So, who do you think you're becoming if this continues, man? Clarity questions. Again, what specifically do you want? Get clarity and emphasize the want. Like, dude, what specifically do you want? Right? Get clarity. And then permission questions. So this helps keep walls down. So, dude, is it cool if I dig a little bit deeper on that? Is it all right, man, if I give you a perspective that you might not have already thought of? Or is it cool if I tell you something that you might not want to hear, but I think you should? Permission questions. And that's really like the categories that you guys will always ask questions in. The last thing I'm gonna touch on, very last part here, as we got the last 4 minutes on the clock here, it's the skill that made me dangerous, right? The skill that took me from making absolutely nothing to being able to book 100 to 120 calls a month just sending DMs, being able to close 150,000 to $300,000 months on sales floors, even in my own offers, take home. It's micro probing. Micro probing. That's such a great skill to have. Micro probing is asking small, simple follow-up questions that unlock deep truth. That is micro probing. As I'm telling you, I'm a menace with this. Not to toot my own horn. I swear. Micro probing, asking small, simple follow-up questions that unlock deep truth. Examples. What do you mean? How do you mean by that? Explain that to me. Give me an example. When did that start? How long has that been the case? Why do you think that is? How exactly do you mean by that? Bro, that's a micro probe. After they just gave me some juice, I'm gonna get more juice. Dude, I'm squeezing the shit out of that orange. I swear, I'm getting everything, getting all the pulp in there. Right? Why? Because when they tell me, oh man, I've just been dealing with this, I've been struggling at my job for the last 2 years and my bills are behind and it's just been stressful. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up, man. Hold up, man. When you say struggled and stressed, like what exactly do you mean by that, man? Well, I know it sounds cliche to you guys, but when you use it in the correct term, in the correct transitions and cycles in a call, man, does that bring out everything you want to hear in the micro probing. They'll give you even more. Oh man, you don't even know, man. I've been working at this job. They'll tell you everything. So micro probing, why? Because they're going to give you the deeper answer, which is going to give you that sale at the end of it. So micro probing ends up multiplying the depth of everything, the emotion of everything, clarity on everything, trust, throughout the situation, right? Vulnerability inside of it, and honesty. That's what micro probing does, right? It's the single most important micro skill in the entire fact finding phase. Entire fact finding phase. I promise you, it is the micro probing. And silence is also, I guess, the next runner up to that, which we'll get into later. But we'll dive into that tomorrow. Like actually breaking silence and how to use silence and leverage it to be able to get that yes, to close those deals and set more appointments. So micro probing is huge, and we'll start incorporating the drilling on all of this stuff so you guys can really start to dive in on this coming week. Super excited for it. But any questions on what we just finished up?
Remember what I told you guys yesterday, man. Don't just come on here, listen to us talk, drop game. You guys have to put this into work, like when you guys get off these calls. And then I told you guys